sometimes, the scariest thing you can hear is yourself. In this chilling collection, these 4 real stories explore the horrors of voices, mimicked, repeated, and twisted. These aren't just stories, they're warnings. Tonight's stories are presented in 4 different visual styles. Leave a comment and let me know if you like this style. Would you rather see a single style, or have any suggestions? Got a story you want me to tell? Send your stories to contactcrandohaze@gmail.com. The voice on the baby monitor was mine. It started with the baby monitor clicking on at 2:13 a.m. and my voice, my exact voice, humming a lullaby from the nursery downstairs. My wife and I had our daughter, Lily, just 6 weeks ago. Ever since she came home, we'd been taking shifts at night. One of us sleeps while the other listens for her on the monitor. That night was my turn to rest, and I was dead asleep until the crackling static woke me. The monitor sat on the nightstand next to me, blinking softly. At first I thought it was my wife singing to calm Lily down, but the second I focused on the voice coming through, a coldness crept over me. It wasn't her voice, it was mine, humming the same lullaby I always used with Lily. The soft, slow one my mom used to hum to me when I was little. The cadence, the pitch, the slight off-key dip at the end of each line. I know my own voice. I'd never heard it come from outside my own head like that before. I sat up, staring at the monitor. The screen was dark. Our cheap model didn't have video, just audio. That somehow made it worse. Just sound. Just that humming. My humming. I glanced beside me. My wife was still asleep. No one else was in the room. No lights on downstairs. No doors opening. Just the soft hum and the occasional baby gurgle over the monitor. I whispered her name, Sarah. She stirred, but didn't wake. The humming continued, longer than I'd ever hummed it. Slower. Like it was drawing each note out deliberately. Like it knew I was listening. I got up quietly and crept to the bedroom door. Every board in the old floor seemed to groan like it was trying to betray me. I held my breath, pushing open the door, and stepped into the hallway. The baby monitor crackled a little louder, the humming growing fainter as I moved. Downstairs was pitch black, except for the faint glow of Lily's nightlight spilling into the hall. The hum was clearer now, floating up from her room. My hand was trembling as I reached the top of the stairs. I didn't call out. I didn't ask who was down there. I didn't want it to stop. I just needed to see. I crept down, every step somehow, both muffled and unbearably loud. At the bottom, the air felt different, thick, cold, but not like winter cold. More like the chill of a hospital hallway that hasn't seen a visitor in hours. Still, lifeless. The humming stopped, just stopped. No trailing off. No sound of movement, like someone knew I was there. I stood frozen outside the nursery door, the light from the nightlight casting a pale glow through the cracked doorway. I could hear Lily breathing, that soft, wheezy sleep breath newborns make, but nothing else. No footsteps, no shifting, no voice. I pushed the door open slowly. Lily was there, in her crib, safe, sleeping. The rocking chair beside her crib was still swaying slightly. No windows were open. The air was still. There was no draft, and yet, the chair rocked softly, like it was winding down. I took a step inside. There was no one there. I checked the closet, empty. I looked under the crib, nothing. I even checked the monitor unit in the nursery itself, but it looked fine. No glitches, no weird wiring, no explanation. I stood in the middle of the room, completely silent, waiting to hear anything. Then I heard it again, my voice. This time, not humming. Speaking. From the monitor on the nightstand upstairs. I couldn't make out the words. It was too muffled from down here. But it was me. The way my voice catches when I'm nervous. The slightly uneven rhythm of my speech. It was like listening to a recording of myself that I never made. Then silence again. I rushed upstairs, 2 steps at a time, barely able to breathe. I grabbed the monitor from the nightstand. Dead air. The red light blinked, signaling audio was live, but there was nothing on it. Just quiet. Sarah was still asleep, completely unaware. I stayed up the rest of the night. Lily didn't make a sound. No more voices came through. No more humming. No more me. The next day, I replaced both monitor units. Top of the line, new frequency, crystal clear. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. Last night, 3 days after it happened, I left my phone recording in the nursery overnight, just in case. This morning I played it back. Most of it was normal. Soft breathing, a few sleepy coos. But at 3:27 a.m., there was a faint sound. A low voice, I turned up the volume. It was me, again, singing just one line, a single sentence. Go back to sleep, you're not supposed to see me yet. I checked every window, every lock, every inch of that room. No signs of a break-in, nothing on camera, nothing in the house, just the same question in my mind, over and over. If that voice wasn't mine, whose was it pretending to be? It used my friend's voice to get inside. There was pounding at the front door, and my best friend's voice shouted through the rain, begging me to let him in. I almost did, until my phone lit up with a text from him that read, "Still on the way. Be there in an hour." It was supposed to be a quiet night. Just me, some leftover pizza, and a horror movie I'd already seen a dozen times. My roommate Devin was out for the weekend, and my best friend, Caleb, was planning to come by later after visiting his girlfriend a few towns over. A storm had rolled in heavy around 7 p.m, lightning flashing bright enough to silhouette the trees through our blinds, thunder low and constant like a war drum. I locked the front door early, not because I was scared, just routine. You get in the habit living off. Around 9:15, the wind picked up, real bad. The kind that pushes against the windows like it's trying to find a crack to slip through. I turned the volume up on the TV and tossed a blanket over my lap, trying to ignore the creaking sounds coming from the hallway. That's when I heard the knock. Not a gentle tap. It was loud, urgent, followed by a voice I recognized instantly. "Dude, it's freezing out here." It was Caleb. I jumped up and ran to the front door grinning. He must have left early. "One sec," I called, unlocking the deadbolt. I was just about to turn the knob when something made me pause. A sound, not from outside, but from my phone, which was buzzing on the coffee table. A text from Caleb, "Hey, just leaving now. Weather sucks. Still cool to come by." My stomach dropped. I turned slowly toward the door. Another knock, same voice. "Man, seriously, it's cold. Let me in." The tone was familiar, just like Caleb, but the rhythm was off. Like someone had heard him speak and was mimicking the way he talks, but not quite getting it right. My hand slipped away from the doorknob. I backed up slowly. "Who is it?" I asked, even though I already knew what the answer should be. "It's me, Caleb." "Come on, bro, let me in." No hesitation, like it had prepared that response. I took another step back, then silence. The knocking stopped. No footsteps, no retreat. Just quiet. I stood there for maybe a minute, barely breathing, heart pounding. Then came another sound, a fingernail, or maybe a key, scraping the edge of the door, right where the deadbolt sits. It was slow, deliberate, like it was feeling for the lock. I grabbed my phone and called Caleb. He picked up on the second ring. "Hey man, I just got in the car. What's up?" I didn't answer right away. "Hello," he said again, his voice normal, calm, with the faint sound of his car stereo in the background. "Are you here?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "No, I told you. I just left." I looked at the door. Still shut, still locked. "There's someone outside," I said quietly. "They sound exactly like you." A long pause on the other end of the line. Then, Caleb said something that chilled me even more. "Don't open it. Whatever you do, don't say anything else." "What?" I whispered, "because now it knows what you sound like." I hung up the call and backed into the kitchen, away from the door. I killed the lights, sat in the corner with a knife from the drawer, heart racing. The scraping stopped. Then, from the other side of the door, I heard my voice. "Hello, Caleb. You there?" I felt sick. It said it again. "Caleb, man, it's me. Open the door. I think something's out here." Identical. Same tone. Same phrasing. Word for word from the call I'd just made. It had memorized me. I stayed in that corner for almost 2 hours. Never moved. Just listened. It never tried the door again. Never knocked. Just walked around on the porch now and then, pacing. Occasionally it would say something. Once it whispered, "I can wait." Another time, it softly said, "You already let me in." Eventually, the sound stopped. I must have fallen asleep there on the floor, because the next thing I remember was sunlight bleeding through the blinds and my phone buzzing with a new text. It was Caleb. "Yo, just woke up. Last night was nuts. Still want to hang later." I checked the front door before I replied. There were wet footprints on the porch, but none leading away. The thing in the wall repeats what it hears. I thought I was losing my mind the first time I heard my own voice whispering through the wall, repeating something I'd said hours earlier when I thought I was completely alone. I moved into the apartment last October. It was cheap, too cheap for the area, and came fully furnished, which should have been a red flag. But I was desperate. The place was small and oddly shaped, with narrow hallways and a bedroom that looked like it had been converted from a walk-in closet. But it was quiet, the neighbors were mostly old, and the walls were thick, or so I thought. The first weird thing happened during a phone call with my sister. We were catching up, just the usual stuff. I was venting about work, some relationship things, and I remember laughing when I said, at this point, I'm probably better off alone anyway. That was around 8 p.m. at 1:30 in the morning. I was lying in bed, scrolling through my phone, when I heard it. Faint, muffled, from the wall behind my head. I'm probably better off alone anyway. My heart stopped. It was my voice, my exact tone, the little nervous laugh at the end. I sat up, listening. Nothing. Just silence again. I thought maybe it was a weird glitch. Maybe the call had echoed back somehow. I tried to shake it off. But the next night, it happened again. I had left a voicemail for a friend earlier that day. Something dumb about not wanting to go to a party. How I was too tired and needed a break. Around 2 a.m., just as I was drifting off, I heard myself mumbling from the wall across the room. I'm not feeling it, man. Just want to rest tonight. Same pacing. Same voice. Same words. It was like the walls were remembering what I said. I started keeping track. It always happened late, never before midnight. Always something I'd said out loud earlier in the day. Never conversations I just thought about, only things I physically said. Sometimes it was something mundane, like asking my cat if she wanted food. Sometimes it was private. Once, after a rough call with my dad, I cried in the kitchen and said, I wish you didn't exist. I didn't mean it. I was just angry. That night, the wall behind the fridge repeated it. I wish you didn't exist. Soft, like someone whispering through plastic. I unplugged the fridge to make sure I wasn't hearing some weird hum. No change. Still there. Still me. I called my landlord. He brushed me off, said the walls were just old. That sound traveled weird in the building. But I know how my voice sounds. I know when it's me. And this wasn't an echo. It was a repetition. I tried recording it. I left my phone out one night, voice memo running. It picked up nothing. Dead air. But when I was in the room, when I was listening, that's when it spoke. Like it only wanted me to hear it. Eventually it started changing. The voice was still mine, but it began altering the phrasing, rewording slightly, like it was trying to learn how to talk. I'd say something like, I should go grocery shopping tomorrow, and later hear from the wall, you should go tomorrow. Groceries are empty. I never said that. Not like that. I stopped talking in the apartment as much. I whispered. I muted my TV. I turned on white noise. Anything to drown it out. One night I slipped up. I was on a video call for work. Got caught up. Forgot. I ended the call and immediately felt that cold feeling in my chest again. That night, at 3:12 a.m., I heard it. Don't forget the deadline. They're watching. I had said the first part in my meeting. Not the second. They're watching. I hadn't said that. Not in any conversation. That was new. I barely slept. When I did, I dreamt. I was standing inside the walls, pressed between wooden beams and old insulation, my face staring back at me from the other side, and I was smiling. Last week I tried something different. I asked it a question. I stood in the middle of my living room and whispered, "Who are you?" I repeated it again and again. Nothing. That night, I stayed awake. I turned off every light, sat in the dark. At 3:46 a.m., from the wall behind the couch, I heard, "I'm you," but deeper. It didn't sound like a recording anymore. It sounded alive. I moved out 2 days ago. Didn't even finish packing. I left furniture, dishes, half my clothes. But I took the baby monitor I'd bought when my niece visited, just in case she stayed over. I don't know why I brought it. Last night, in my new apartment, I turned it on out of curiosity, just to make sure I wasn't crazy. I set it on the kitchen counter, sat quietly, waited. At 3:01 a.m., it crackled softly to life. This wall's too new. But you'll talk again. Then, silence. I haven't said a word since. Something answered my cry for help. I was cold, bleeding, and screaming for someone, anyone, to find me. And then I heard it, "I'm coming," in my exact voice, from somewhere behind me. I got turned around somewhere after hour 4 of what was supposed to be a simple day hike. I've done this trail before, twice, actually. It loops around a modest stretch of forest outside a small park in western Pennsylvania. Not exactly untouched wilderness. No bears, no cliffs, just old-growth trees, shallow creeks, and enough cell signal to make you feel safe. That day, though, something felt off. I'd started later than usual. The sun was already dipping lower than I'd realized. I was alone, which I normally like, clears my head, but the forest was too quiet. No wind, just that kind of stillness that makes you feel like you're being watched. Around 3:45 p.m., I stopped seeing trail markers. The red blazes on trees just disappeared. I walked in circles trying to find them again, but every turn looked the same. I tried following the slope of the terrain downhill, thinking it'd lead to the road or a stream. I ended up in a patch of thick brush I didn't recognize. That's when I knew I was lost. By 5:30, it was getting dark. My phone was at 17%. No signal. I started shouting for help, just in case. Hello? Is anyone out there? I'm lost. Silence. Then I slipped down an embankment. Nothing huge, but enough to scrape my hands and twist my ankle bad. I couldn't put weight on it without white-hot pain shooting up my leg. I sat there in the dirt, heart pounding, trying to stay calm. The sky dimmed fast. I tried not to panic. Just yelled louder. Help. I need help. Nothing. I don't know how much time passed before I finally heard it. My chest practically seized. I shouted again. Hella, please, over here. Then the voice repeated, softer this time. I'm coming. I stood up fast, despite the pain, spinning toward the sound. That's when the hair on my neck stood up. It was my voice. Not just similar. Exact. Tone, pitch, cadence. The way I overemphasize certain words when I'm panicked. It sounded like me, calling back. I stood frozen, scanning the tree line. There was nothing there. Just fading light and black shapes between trunks. Who's there? I managed, my voice cracking. Silence. Then again, same words, same inflection, from somewhere deeper in the trees. I'm coming. But this time, it didn't sound urgent. It sounded pleased, like whoever, or whatever, was saying it wasn't trying to help me. It was just announcing itself. And it was closer. I limped backward, trying not to make noise. My foot crunched a twig. I flinched. From maybe 30 feet away, through the trees, I heard it whisper again. I'm coming. Still my voice. I turned and started hobbling away, not even caring about direction anymore. Just putting space between me and the voice. Every few seconds, I'd hear it again. Always behind me. Always the same words. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. Except now, it started to change. The voice grew uneven, glitchy, like it was having trouble copying me. The pitch shifted slightly. The syllables started dragging, like it was rehearsing. Learning. I couldn't take it anymore. I screamed, "Stop copying me!" And then, immediately, without pause, it screamed back, "Stop copying me." Same voice, same fury, same breath. I stopped cold. I could feel it standing just beyond the trees, hidden behind a veil of leaves. Too dark now to see clearly. Then silence. I don't know how long I stood there. And then, different voice, not mine, soft, croaking, almost human found you. I ran, didn't matter how bad it hurt. I pushed off trees, stumbled over roots, didn't care where I ended up. I just ran until my legs gave out, and I collapsed at the base of a tree. I must have passed out, because when I woke up it was morning, sunlight, birdsong, normal forest sounds. My phone had just enough charge to get a faint signal. I pinged my location and texted it to my brother before it died. He and some friends came looking and found me by noon. I didn't tell them everything, just that I got lost, sprained my ankle, maybe got a little dehydrated and heard some weird things in the woods. But here's the part that's messing me up. Last night, back in my apartment, I had a dream. I was in those woods again, except I wasn't me. I was standing in the trees, watching myself stumble past in the dark. And in the dream, I heard myself say it, in a voice too deep to be mine. I'm still coming.